Welcome back, and we have Heidi Solomon next, who's a psychosomatic therapist. Welcome, Heidi.
Thank you.
So, firstly, can you lead in by telling us a little bit about your story?
Yeah, sure. So I used to be a biomedical engineer, so I have a medical background, and all of a sudden life happens, and then I wake up one day with MS. So I had multiple sclerosis for a long time, and I was totally incapacitated. I was homebound for 5 years. I was not talking, not walking, not able to control my bladder. So I was wearing adult diapers, and I couldn't eat solids as well. And I was really sick for years. And just one day, a random person just said to me, why did you choose MS? So a lady just came to me and she asked me that question while I was in hospital getting my fix. So every time I had an attack, I went to hospital and I sat there and I was having an IV for 4 or 5 days and of steroids. And then she just asked me that question, why did you choose MS? And that question led me to, answering that question led me to, well, if I had chosen MS, then can I unchoose it? And that was the whole journey. And this is where I ended up with psychosomatics and everything else I'm doing. So it opened the gateway for me to understand that we are mind, body, and soul. And then when the 3 components aren't in harmony for any kind of reason, then we actually sit in disease, disharmony. And autoimmune is the most common one.
So is then multiple sclerosis an autoimmune disease?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Oh, right, right. So what then, what did you discover on that pathway?
So when I found out that mind, body and soul connection there is something wrong there, so I went and I started looking for avenues where I can get things back in harmony and get my mindset right again. And so I went and I found psychosomatic therapy and coaching. And then after, getting over MS, getting over the symptoms, stopping my medication altogether, I went and I started psychosomatic therapy myself and coaching. So that's what I do now. So this is why I do psychosomatics.
Oh, that's a great combination, isn't it? You can have the communication as well as the body communication incorporated into it.
That's so true, because psychosomatic therapy is a journey of the person from the outside in, and then we say your issues are in your tissues. So this is where it comes from the inside out, and this is where coaching comes in place.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. What were some of the symptoms that you've seen come up for people while you're working?
A lot of people present their issues, as I said, in their tissues. So, for example, something like, cancers. Cancers are there for a reason that people aren't forgiving and aren't letting go of some issues, and therefore they're holding on, and then therefore they have cancers. This is an example. Another example would be desensitized tissues, what we call fat. People build fat deposits in specific places, specific spots, and it's there for protection. So, this is why we tend to hold this fat in these places. So this is an example of some different things that I've seen.
Would you have any examples of other maybe diseases in the body that present to you during, in your discovery with other people?
So I would say anything that is autoimmune, like asthma, eczema, psoriasis. So any of that is totally reversible, and people, after a long journey of having history of asthma, eczema, and, hay fever and all of that, they let go of the reason why they were holding on to that, and then they become better in every possible way. So the disease cure comes as a bonus. So the people that actually seek psychosomatic therapy, they seek that to get harmony in terms of everything in life, and then they get free of their disease as a bonus. The one thing I tell a lot of people is that they need to listen to their bodies. Everybody needs to listen to what their body is telling them, and then to understand what's it telling them and what is it that they need to do to be able to bring back harmony to their bodies and minds and souls. It's a journey, and we're all in this together. So we need to be helping each other.
So it's like the balance in life that we're all seeking, isn't it? That balance of of things presenting themselves really to us. Yes. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So just to finish, what would be your absolute top tip for our viewers?
The number one piece of advice, I give that to myself and to everybody I know, is watch the results you're having in your life in any area. Relationships, business, money, everything, abundance, everything. Watch the results that you're having in all your areas in your life. If there is an area where you're not experiencing 100% the results that you'd love to see, then you need to bring back balance and harmony to that area, and then you will get the results that you want.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's wonderful. And for more information on Heidi and psychosomatic therapy, then please go to our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. Welcome back. And next we have Sondre Kalik, who is a women's sales success coach and is here to talk to us about feminine empowerment. So welcome, Sondre.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Wonderful.
And so what is feminine empowerment?
Yes. Well, let's start with what feminine empowerment is not. So we have, a lot of misconstrued ideas outside in the market, outside in the real world, where women are taught to be a certain way, act a certain way, dress a certain way. We're not talking about how a woman is, in presentation to other women. We're talking about how she feels on the inside, what it is that her heart really yearns to be an expression of in the world, and how to go about being that in the most authentic way that she can. And for a lot of women, we are very disconnected from our hearts and from what it is that we really want to do in the world, because there's a lot, that we need to balance, we need to bring into account. And we, as women, tend to change roles, during the day, a lot more than what men do. We have a very different way of wanting to be in the world. And, like, for me personally, I'm a mum, I'm also a grandma, I also run 2 businesses, so I'm forever changing track. And women find this difficult, a lot of the time, as to how they keep their energy up, how they really actually, in service to everyone else, are actually looking after themselves. And for me, that's where feminine empowerment really starts, is where a woman will take the time for her own self-care, her own self-nurture, understand her value in the world, and also, like as a mum, my tendency is to be a nurturer, to care, but I've got to make sure that I have boundaries that don't allow me to overgive, at the expense of myself. So feminine empowerment is really about being able to stand in one's value, understand what is good for themselves whilst being in service to other people, and also to find a way in which, we get to grow. We get to expand as not just a woman in a woman's role, depending on what that is, a wife, a mother, a sister, what does our soul want in this experience of life? And how is it that we can bring this aspect of natural desire to grow and have that really be of service to us as a woman? So for me, empowerment covers all aspects of being a woman. And where I help women the most is where we're looking at their business. Yeah.
So important to look at all areas of your life, isn't it? And we forget about those other aspects.
Absolutely, because everything we do is integrated. You know, we can't, just because we're changing hats, we don't actually change who we are. So I think it's really important to be able to, you know, feminine empowerment supports energetically and underpins everything it is that we're doing in the world and everything we want to take out in the world, but also what we're learning, you know, because growth is a natural aspiration. And, you know, we live now, women of our generation, now live in a time where opportunity or possibility is, oh, wow, it is, we have so much choice. So how do we determine that choice? And how do we really make sure that we are able to create something that serves us, that inspires us? And, you know, really, you know, that's part of the lifestyle. How do you really live a life that is filled with joy, filled with love, filled with wonder at the same time, as well as doing all the things we need to do? The practical, day-to-day, how do we be an empowered woman?
That's wonderful. Thank you, Sondre.
That's all right, yeah.
And for more information on Sondre and women's empowerment, then please go to our website healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And next we have Tracy, who's here to talk to us today about raw food. Welcome back. And we welcome back Tracy Jardim. Welcome, Tracy. And Tracy's with us today to continue talking about raw food and why not refined sugar. Why not refined sugar, Tracy?
Well, as we know, refined sugar is probably one of the biggest addictions in the world, especially in Western society. And refined sugar can be found in so many different products on the supermarket shelves, and they're mostly hidden. Things like sauces and marinades, they all contain sugars, and unless we're looking closely at the labels, we don't know that they're there. So things like white sugar, white flour, even brown sugar, corn syrups and starches, they're all very highly processed products that contain a lot of refined sugars. And we know that consuming a lot of refined sugars can lead to diseases like diabetes, which is highly prevalent in our society, unfortunately. But if we look at taking on a raw food diet, eating more raw foods, we are going to reduce the amount of refined sugars in our diet. So things like green leaves, spinach and kale and that sort of thing. Nuts are really good fats and oils in nuts. Things like fresh fruits and vegetables. Fruit has naturally occurring sugars, so we're much better off to eat fresh fruit than refined sugar things like snack bars and stuff like that.
Oh, right, that's really out there, isn't it? For people in the awareness to think of, you know, of juices and things like that, which may not be as pure.
Absolutely, Linda. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, juices are a good one, unless you're there like squeezing the orange yourself, which takes a lot of energy. But that could be a good thing because you're burning calories when you're squeezing that.
True that. That's true.
So yeah, we just need to be wary of the things that we're picking up off the supermarket shelf and checking the label. Yeah, because the refined sugars are there and they're hidden, and what we want to do is reduce the incidence of diabetes and increase better health for everybody.
Right. What would you, today could be your top tip for our viewers on something they can take away from today about refined sugars?
Always look at the label, especially on sauces and marinades, things like that. and marinated meats that you might, quickly choose from the supermarket, because there's a lot of that sort of convenient food that the supermarkets are putting out now, and they've got hidden sugar. So yeah, just always look at the label and look at the sugar content, and if you've got time, always make it yourself.
And for more information on raw food and refined sugar, please go to our website health-wellbeing-and-lifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll be back with Kim Townsend talking about finding calm within chaos. Welcome back. And next we have Kim Townsend, who's a lifestyle coach. Welcome, Kim.
Hi, Linda.
Now, you are here to talk to us about finding calm within chaos.
Exactly. So I suppose everybody's really familiar with chaos, either the external chaos or the internal chaos. And I find it's really important to know how to find the calm for your health and for just finding solutions. So imagine an emergency situation where ambulance were required. If they didn't know how to be calm, their lives would be lost, and solutions wouldn't be found. So finding calm within internally and externally is really important. I suppose what I find is that so many people are living today in a place of stress, and stress is actually, it's a silent epidemic. It's an addiction, and it's slowly killing us. I mean, there's the stress of what you're doing right now, but what the body does over time, it creates all those chronic illnesses and is really debilitating. So it's really important to find calm.
And what would you say are some tips for actually finding calm within chaos?
So there's quite a few things, but the easiest thing is to learn how to use your breath. I mean, you hear people say, just calm down, take 10 deep breaths. It's not an old wives' tale, it is a fact of living. So you find the calm in the breath, just deep breath in, deep breath out, and you'll find it's calming. So that's the simple, straight up solution to finding calm right at that moment. But for a bigger picture of calm and having calm throughout your life, there's things like what I call the SOS, simplifying, organising and systemising things. There's also what I call connectication, which is about learning how to communicate, to have connection so you can create your support team. And that helps you to find the calm, because you learn to express things and release any of the tension that is within yourself.
So I guess that incorporates you have loads of other tips, don't you? You have loads of other simple things people can do to simplify.
Yeah, so there's understanding what the triggers are, what does set you off, and learning to either eliminate those triggers or to minimise them, or figure out how to approach them. As soon as you feel that anxiety or that discomfort inside, do the deep breaths rather than waiting for it to explode. So finding a bit of time between a situation and, instead of reacting, learning how to respond. So you're doing it mindfully and and consciously.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, though I guess that other thing is the breath work and the finding that relaxation, and simple things like that. About that, can people just incorporate that in their daily lives
Absolutely.
easily?
Meditation is really good. A lot of people sort of see meditation as a monk in a cave and sage and candles, or a hippie out in the paddock. But meditation can be incorporated into your daily lives in so many different ways. Just be walking down the street, instead of worrying about, I left something at home and the house is a mess, or I'm going to the busy office. Just breathe calmly and just focus on being present, being there in the moment, just enjoying the walk. So that is the simplest form of meditation. It doesn't have to be something you set aside for half an hour. You can do it anytime, anywhere. In the shower.
Oh, it's just fantastic.
Really simple.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim, for sharing that. And for more information on Kim or finding calm within your own chaos, then please go to our website. And for now, we'll say bye-bye until next week from us all here at Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle.